This is Mogobe Nuggets of Wisdom podcast. We enthuse, we energize, we inspire, and we empower entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs of all stripes in BW and beyond. Hello and welcome. Mompoloki, Lerumo, Mogobe here. As always, I have another powerful episode of Mogobe Nuggets of Wisdom podcast. Very excited. But before we talk about that, let's talk first about this book. The book Momp Nuggets of Grit, and from the kettle post to serial entrepreneurship. Shameless plug. Please, if you're interested, get hold of this book. But it's easy to get hold of. You call my PA and at 397-1368. 397-1368. And the book is yours, and I'm willing to give it to you as a discount if you mention the fact that you saw it on the Nuggets. I'll take it down a notch from $400 to $360 for you. And it's an exciting book. It deals with the story of my life. Basically, this is my autobiographical book. As always, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button. We require those numbers, and we really depend on you so that we can wrestle with these algorithms as we are now in our year number 5 with this program. Welcome. Let me welcome my guest. Tell them your full name. I only recorded it here as the MD of SERGE. AKA Oarabile Ditedu. Did I get it correct? Welcome to Mogobe Nuggets of Wisdom.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here in your presence and being in the podcast. My name is Oarabile Ditedu. Mrs. Oarabile Ditedu, I always leave that out. Or Mrs. Oarabile Ditedu, manager of SERGE.
Manager or founder?
I will say, I play the role of manager, but I'm the founder. Yes.
And the CEO.
And I believe I'll grow to the CEO. I'm still managing.
Okay.
Yes.
Managing director.
I believe when now I reach to the level where I believe now I can brand as CEO when I've accumulated the portfolio befitting. Right now I'm still managing and growing. Yes.
Share a little bit on your background, education, and so on.
I schooled Mogobe from primary to senior, Lerumo from 4 to Form 5, and then tried UB, tried all the universities, even internationally. My dream was to be a pilot. So I applied to all the aviation schools abroad, but I finally now studied multimedia at Gaborone Technical College, and then went for my advanced certificate at Francistown Technical College. That is the level of education. I finally now, I believe, I kind of believe I'm ready for business then. That is when I started hustling, I'll say that.
When you got this thing, ambassadorship of FESTAC Africa, what is FESTAC Africa?
FESTAC Africa is the Festival of Arts and Culture. It was originally planned about 1970. The last one was 1977 in Nigeria. And then the organizers, seeing what it stood for, because it brought African countries to celebrate Africanism, our culture, our arts, our food, our music. And then since 2021, it was reorganized by Inspire Connect. And how I got to be an ambassador, it's
been lying dormant since 77.
Yes,
many years.
It's like, but you look at the video of the 1977 edition, it was a masterpiece. It's something I'm wondering how it kind of became dormant for the countries that were there, the celebrations of culture, of the diverse African culture. Somebody just forgot about it. Yeah.
Now, your key skills are management and leadership. Therefore, I want to hear how you went about setting up LAMP SERGE and what the challenges are around managing it and leading your teams.
As I mentioned, started hustling at 2010 and then opened my first business then at 2010. Hustled with it around Gaborone, the struggles, the pressure, and then it closed up. But I couldn't just let the dream die. It was then Stage Media was an advertising agency which got swallowed up by the big advertising agencies in Gaborone. But the passion of reaching out to the small people, we call them small people because every time the profits are small, they're operating with small numbers and small stock and everything. That is even how I brought up Stage Media, to also reach out to the small guys who need to go out and be marketing themselves but somehow don't have the skill. So, but without, because they never have a marketing budget. So that is how even my business couldn't make it. But when
what was your first business?
Stage Media, yes. And then I closed it up.
When you say you got swallowed up, means
when you want to also reach out to the big companies, I will say that you will find that another huge company already have that account. So that is why I mean solid, because I couldn't just even penetrate through the big companies, even though I started trying to market the small companies. Yeah.
Why marketing? Why did you choose marketing?
I believe it's the course I studied, so why not do the business under it? So I thought I've got what it takes to get into the marketing, because that is the course I studied. I graduated advanced certificate in multimedia.
So from that to LAMP SERGE, how did that happen?
And that from LAMP SERGE in 2019, I registered LAMP SERGE. After through marketing and trying to understand more about the platform, I ended up attending so many events in South Africa. With all what I learned in those platforms, I ended up registering LAMP SERGE and looking at the landscape of the events in Botswana again. I realized that most are into forums, summits, and into the financial, the financial and you call them the employment summits. You will find the financial
Property.
summits, property. Yeah. Then I registered LAMP SERGE and I ventured into the agricultural sector. And I said, okay, let me just how do people, the small scale farmers, acquire knowledge and the skills? That is how LAMP SERGE came about.
Is there any significance to the name LAMP and then SERGE?
LAMP SERGE, we're talking about skills transfer, knowledge transfer. We bring in the light to people. So LAMP, you look at the traditional lamp, our lamp, Lilela paraffin, you'll find that it always had that handle that you always just put it by the ridge or the tree, and then that is how the lamp, the light to the farmers, and the SERGE, that even if you are not holding that light, even when I'm not there, the light, I can always just leave the light there, holding it with the SERGE, and it will always, the knowledge will always remain with the person, no matter how far you go.
That's where the name comes from.
LAMP SERGE comes from.
So what would you say are the triumphs and the successes of LAMP SERGE since it started?
The successes, I will say, is me learning a lot under the agricultural sector, which I wasn't aware of. It's growing from realizing the workshops are, even a one-day workshop doesn't really deliver what we need on the ground, to now having to look at the workshop, bringing change to the life of the...
Incidentally, I met you at the farmers conference where I was one of the keynote speakers. So it was quite interesting.
Yes.
To bump into people like you.
Yes.
So you believe in attending such conferences?
I do. As much as I'm organizing events, I have to be in all the platforms, in most of them actually, because even like I'm saying, I'm learning.
Did you organize that one?
No.
Oh, I see.
We will talk more about the ones I'm organizing. Yes.
And you're still explaining the triumphs and the successes.
Yes. And with the knowledge of, okay, you've organized the workshop, it's a 1 day or a 2 days platform. What impact are we taking to the farmers, or are we leaving the farmers with? That is now to say the workshop shouldn't just be a workshop. After the workshop, I should also organize or conceptualize a concept of a program or initiative, which afterwards is still going to be delivering on the mandate of that workshop. Like the poultry workshops. We organized the poultry workshops, but there was still a cry for market for the smallholder farmers. Like I'm saying, these are the workshop for smallholder farmers, the backyard farmers. So I conceptualized a chicken brand. I called it the chicken basket. This chicken basket was to say, I'm creating a universal brand. You get to Spar, you get to every shop, you'll find that Renalebo Bopsi, the Tswana chicken, and those are commercial farmers. And smallholder themselves cannot supply such a number. So how can I combine all of them so that we can have this universal brand that can even compete in the commercial space? So that took a lot from how do we even package that to take it to the farmers and have farmers come on board. Are we going to bridge the slaughter facility gap, and even the packaging, the processing and the storage and everything? So I took the first steps. I packaged it. I took it to the farmers. It was welcomed. And how do we now process the chickens? The commercial abattoirs are for the commercial farmers, as they have them in their own space. So I conceptualized a mobile abattoir, which I believed will also bridge the gap of farmers having to always transport their chickens to the rented out abattoirs, and also having it as now they're still slaughtering in their backyard. But how do we give them a cleaner, safer environment, as if the Ministry of Agriculture was kind of concerned about how they slaughter. It's unhygienic, but it's an edible product. So how do we give them a cleaner environment? That is where the mobile abattoir is. And the challenge with all that, you'll find that our ministry didn't have actually the regulations for this mobile abattoir to be operational. So that was the challenge that I had to drop back. And with, like I'm saying, this I learned along the way.
Doesn't the absence of regulations, does that give you a go ahead, or it stops you?
It becomes a challenge.
You can't go ahead.
It's moving an abattoir around without a license. It's like driving without a license. Obviously, there are charges surrounding it. So for me to move around with an abattoir that didn't have a license kind of came as a challenge.
Where did you get the abattoir from?
I built it, the trailer in Pretoria, custom made, and the equipment I got from South Africa.
Oh, so you put it all together?
Yes.
You basically did the design and gave it to...
The design and sent it to the guy in Pretoria, and he built it the way I wanted it.
Okay. What was your original spark? I want to talk about your ideation, the original idea. How did it all come about? This is an area I want to get into.
I didn't choose it. It chose me. And with how I look at it, I kind of don't even know how to answer how these things come about. It's just when a challenge hits you, it chose me. It's because when you come to think about it and how all these concepts are coming about from a graduate of multimedia, and you are new into the sector, but these concepts you come about and everybody is excited that you are bringing a solution they've been waiting for years, and you're also kind of in a shock, but this is going to work. And the feedback you get from people, it says a lot about how you are solving the problems. Yeah.
Yes. So you still haven't answered the question how it originally started to say this I could do. What prompted?
The inspiration actually came from the mobile kitchens we see. It's the concept of taking the food to the people. And you'll find them, they're always everywhere. Like there's no corner you can never find a mobile kitchen. And so if you've got mobile freezer vents and everything that takes the food or the solution to the people, how can we make this solution reachable to people, or we take it to the people? So that is how the mobile aspect came in. So how do we solve this? By taking it to the people. And when I thought of a van, I said a van, when the engine has problems or the oils or everything, the van won't move. So I want a trailer I can always hook into every car I have, any other car that will be available. So still that day when we have to slaughter, we're going to slaughter somehow, because when it's a van, then it's not going to solve. So that is why it came a trailer.
Okay. Tell me about the challenges and the setbacks, if any.
The storage facilities, we kind of overlooked that. We believe the freezers will be enough. We learned through when we already implementing the project, we need like a huge, not what we had, not a small cold room. We need a huge cold facility. We needed more funds to actually, I don't just need the registrations fees and the monthly service fees I needed from, I was collecting from the farmers to actually run this. I needed more funds for development and for daily operations, and the funds that I got from them wasn't enough to keep the model running. So that is one of the reasons and the challenges I met, and I had to just close everything down and go back to the drawing board. And some, like I'm saying, with the storage facility, the cold room we had kind of malfunctioned, and most of the stock went bad, which we were supposed to sell. So that is the challenge that really hit the chicken basket.
What caused it to malfunction?
We kind of believe it was fine. We rented it out. It wasn't functioning for some time, but for the testing period, it was just we could go there, check it up. It was very cold. It was fine. With the stock, when we put the stock in, we kind of, now we don't even know what happened for it to now malfunction, because he said no, I haven't been using.
You lost all your stock?
Yes. And I already collected from the farmers. I still had to pay the farmers.
So what's the latest now? What's happening?
The latest is not yet over. I'm still packaging it. I'm still, with all the challenges we met, we are saying, how do we put it right and how do we do it the best way? How do we raise enough funds for it? And that is, without it now, I'm organizing some interregional symposium to raise as much funds, or even I've been adopted by some very good businessmen who built it from what it was, just a chicken basket, to a franchisable model, which we've been busy selling it to.
Tell me more about that.
When I reached, without the funds issue,
the whole thing, how it works, yeah.
Yes, the challenge of needing more funds I reached out to all the investment banks in Botswana, the commercial banks, every funding house in Botswana, but without the license of the abattoirs, some of the banks couldn't invest. So I reached out to international funding organizations. I became a member of British African Business Alliance, which through that the network has been growing, have been introduced to some other businessmen who said, wow, this is not a Botswana solution, it's an African solution. Look at a solution that is solving smallholder backyard producers of poultry in Zambia, in Lesotho, in Malawi, in Ghana. These are the same challenges in the rural areas. They are facing this challenge. We don't see this as a Botswana solution, but as an African, a Pan-African solution. And we want, if it needs to go to another country, we need to make it a franchise. So they've been building it into that.
They have, or you have?
We have. We have, yes.
Does that mean you sold some shares in your company, or how does it work? Or is it just a loose partnership of some kind?
It's on shares basis for us who are building it. I had the model, and we've been developing it, so it's going to be on a shares model for those who develop it. But for those who are buying, they buy it as a franchisee. Yes.
So suppose I'm in a rural area like Shakawe, or just any faraway place. What steps do you have to take to partner with you or to become part of the franchise?
The way we have already packaged it, and which we're still developing, is to actually you pay the franchisee and SERGE.
The franchisor.
The franchisor. You become the franchisee and I'm the franchisor.
Yes.
So the SERGE goes there because we just bought the model. We go and train the farmers, the operators. We seek a partnership with those suppliers, and we teach how the monitoring is done, because the model itself, the farmers are registered to be part of it, and then their production is strictly monitored by us. So we make sure that we maintain the quality, we maintain where they get their chicks and their feeds and their meds. So we also call Bobs to come and train them on quality assurances and all those things, so they know there's the kind of quality we expect from the chicken basket. So we offer the training platform, and then it becomes operational. So we keep on also checking up all the growth and the developments that are happening. So we need all the franchises to match. So we also always gonna be coming and empowering the farmers and the operators.
What about on the plant side, the vegetable side? Are you involved in that area?
I've organized the agriculture financing roundtable. When we organized it, we called the oil processing guys, because it was an outcry on social media sometime with the cooking oil, when it was loud that the numbers were skyrocketing. So we said, okay, how do we actually build an aggregate of farmers who can produce sunflower for these guys? So, but everything starts with finances. How do we actually finance the value chain, the horticulture value chain, in a way that farmers play the role they need to play, which is produce on the ground, the processors, and also the farmers with the finances they need on the ground, we actually get that rolling. So we had the Afri Oil guys from Silibe Pigwe, who came or also shared on the concerns to the farmers and where they're getting their sunflower, which was from South Africa and Zambia. And when these guys don't have enough, they don't give them anything. So how do we train the farmers? From the agriculture value chain financing roundtable, it followed up with 2 workshops on sunflower production. The first one was in Palape, where it was 2 days. The first day was a workshop, and the second day we took farmers to the plant.
You're the one organizing all these?
Yes. We took the farmers to Pigwe to see the plant and how the processing is done, all from collecting sunflower to all the way to how they get the clean oil. And even these guys kind of take the sunflower cake and produce the feeds, which even I've seen the chicken feeds, starter and grower, and finisher are pellets, and the mixed fowl, and those guys were creating mixed fowl in a pellet form, not the one we've seen this side. So they also taught farmers on how they process the pellets with the sunflower cake. So that is the horticulture part in the only with the sunflower. In Gaborone, it was in Muchudi, we partnered with Agrizo to come and share. Agrizo. Yes, to come and teach the farmers about the sunflower and how they can also venture into because we needed the farmers who can produce it to supply it to Afri Oil, which was the agreement with us that the farmers will produce and Afri Oil will go and get the supply.
You had a poultry production workshop in 2020 and 2021. What is that workshop about, and what are you teaching them?
We partner with the vets, we partner with feed manufacturers, the suppliers of layers, because it was also a concern of how do smallholder farmers, without going to the agri shops, is there where they get the direct supply of the layers? But those workshops were entirely, I was seeing on social media, because I also wanted to produce broilers. We are Facebook backyard farmers, actually. So there was no kind of workshop. The workshops were there, but we kind of still ask on Facebook. My chicks are coughing. What can I give them? So yes, we called all the experts to come and teach the farmers on the diseases. But more for me as SERGE was to reach out to the farmers to sell the chicken basket to them. Yes.
Chicken basket, you mean?
The brand. Yes.
Okay. And typically in these workshops, what is it hands-on or is just pure theory?
It was pure theory. Yes.
But then there's no element of make a follow-up
The follow-up we made now when the farmers came on board for the chicken basket. Before the farmer produces, after the register, we go and advise on the housing. It was for the housing, as much as we've got so many backyard farmers who have already built the houses, but when they came to learn about the proper plans they had to put in place for the proper one for the chicks and for the proper growth of chickens, some will say, but now I'm leaving. But I had to go to Bob's and say, but some already have the housing in place. We can't change or ask them to change it to something else.
That hullabaloo has come down. Remember there was a big noise about broilers and how big players are suffocated. What happened?
It's still there. It's just that it's calm. Yes, most of the farmers actually
have things
walked
not
away.
Improved?
No. So most of the farmers walked away because it wasn't kind of worth of fighting it. It's really, it will take up all your time and you will still never get any assistance.
In simple terms, what was the problem?
The problem is the supply of the weaker chicks to the backyard farmers, while the commercial farmers are still the ones with the hatcheries. So they get the grade A chicks and the farmers get with the weak ones. Come festivals like the September Independence, the Christmas, towards most of the time the holidays, you'll find that the farmers get stock that the mortality rate is very high, and it's always around when
you get weak stock.
Yes.
And
you'll find that when the mortality rate is high, the farmer doesn't sell a lot, and the grade A chickens, you'll find that the prices of the braai packs in the shops now goes up. And you'll find that is when most of the time you get to the shop, the braai pack has the biggest thigh. Yeah. So you'll find that is where the grade A chicks went, and the farmers on the ground got the weak chicks, and out of probably 200, the farmer is going to sell around 130 because 70 died.
Did the problem not lead to any court action or government intervention? None of those things?
For us to get there, we're going to have to hold somebody accountable. And who do we actually call out to hold accountable of that? With the farmers, mostly when these chicks die, they just throw them away. And you go to
agri somebody sold you weak chicks. That person sold you a poor product.
But now we say, there's nothing we can do. It's our spirit. We just give up that easily and say, there's nothing else we can do about it.
So how do you now help farmers yourself to address all these problems?
It's not really even kind of up to me to say this is what we can do, as long as you don't own the hatchery, as long as you don't have the control of where the stock is coming from. Is just to continue with what we have, we can only advise on best practices to avoid high mortalities. The best time to also, we take the lemons we are given, we make lemonade. During the holidays, just take a break from producing, and then after the holidays, produce again, because at the end of the day, you're going to invest in a project towards the holidays that is not going to give you any profits. Yes.
Okay. So any good news out of all this? Is there any silver lining?
There is. There is. With the franchise, so many countries have reached out now. They've shown interest on the development of the franchise and buying it and having it the model running in their countries, which for now I can't disclose the countries, but yeah, they have been, at least not all of it was worth nothing. It's growing every day, and I'm still going to come back to Botswana and implement it according to the environment and how the farmers believed in it.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about goat farming. You know, at the farmers conference, we had one master farmer who was an expert in this area, and everybody was excited about it. But as a person on the ground, you've had a few workshops. What is the situation on the ground in Botswana, and what's happening with regard to goat farming?
Goat farming. The workshop I organized was focused on our indigenous breed. We have brought exotic breeds, and we kind of believe our climate solution to all the challenges we are facing with the small stock sector. But I kind of believe if I can also ask a question that when we talk about these exotic breeds and we believe that pedigrees, who pedigreed them? Why can't we pedigree our indigenous breed? It's a very good breed. Environmentally, it's good. It doesn't really need all the vaccines and all so much care that we give to the exotic breed, but it does very well. And we look at the market. I believe it's being also sold to the wrong market, because we want to sell it with kgs. Like the Kalahari red, the Bura goat, it has meat. And you find that our goat is more structured. But what is really good about it is organic. So if we can sell the organic factor about it, you look at everything organic is expensive. So if we can sell the organic factor about it, it can go far. If we explore the value chain of our goat breed, it's not just on indigenous and being organic. The leather of the goat compared to the cattle one, the leather is more durable than the cattle leather.
I didn't know that.
Yes,
Why
it
is
that? It's kind of how the structure of it. It's even more elastic than the cattle one. Yes. So if we can also exploit it that way, I believe every country will even want our exotic breed more than it.
You mean our local breed?
Our local breed,
more than the exotic.
More than the exotic one, because of the meat and the healthy factor about it, more than even the.
So does the exotic one suffer in our environment or in our climate?
It's challenging. When it gets hot, like really cold, you have to give those guys some blankets. Yeah, it gets hot, you really have to find them shelter to rest. They will be panting under the sun like nobody's business. They heat up like easily. So as much as it has come to be encouraged to get a goat and mix it with our Tswana goat. We've come to adapt to that, mixing our breeds. It's a solution. Sometimes the solution we already have. You just have to explore the value chains and invest on the factors that haven't been invested in, like the goat, like the leather, which I'm saying we need to explore the value chain in the goat sector.
Typically, when you organize these events, how do you do it and how do you make money?
I put a price tag to the workshop, and initially from zero budget, I would just say, okay, I can see there's a gap here. We need to address this thing. and then how do I package it into a workshop? What needs to be discussed? What unique factors do I want to capture into this and bring awareness to the farmers? And so that is how all these workshops have been conceptualized. Even the sunflower one, I wanted to bring the farmers to supply somewhere. The market is already ready, just supply. The goat one, I wanted to take out that factor. Even I was showing them the pictures of we weave with the reed. Yeah, we build these baskets and everything with the reed. But the elasticity of our goat products, the leather, we can even weave with it the same way we are weaving with the reed and create masterpieces that can become a center of attention in the room. Yes. Not just the shoes, the leather is used. So for competitiveness, we can just start weaving with it and produce some unique products.
Okay. This year, what events have you had and what is being planned?
Last year, I held the first edition of the Interregional Agriculture Symposium, which all the challenges I found in Botswana. I've been reaching out to other farmers in other countries to say, are you facing what we are facing in Botswana? What are you guys doing there? Which we see you guys still are empowering the farmers, and what is lacking there? What are your challenges and the solutions? So I realized that, okay, the challenges we face in Botswana are in Ghana, they are in Lesotho, South Africa, Namibia, given our environment differences and similarities. So I called an interregional agriculture symposium.
Where was it held?
It was last year in Lesotho, Maseru.
How did it go?
We had attendance of 247 farmers. We had the NADI supporting us, who sent 3 doctors, and we had the minister.
NADI is?
NADI, our National Agriculture Research and Development Institute.
Yes.
Yes, and we had the Minister of Agriculture in Lesotho officiating. We had the Deputy Speaker of the House who came to see, because the way I've conceptualized it, all the farmers in the region don't actually get the time to hold the mic and say, we believe this can work for us on the ground. The challenges are this, and yes, we are aware of them, but it's high time we also address our challenges with our solutions. All the platforms are internationally or locally attended by officials and the government and the stakeholders, but then sometimes yes, solutions come out of that.
The most important stakeholder is a farmer.
And when the most
and
important is never involved. So this is the platform where the farmers actually get the mic and say, okay, here we are, and our voice to this solution says this. So we give more time to the farmers to.
When is the next one?
The next one is here in Botswana, Komudipane Dreamview Farm, where we also, in Lesotho, we were addressing the issues of mass production and mass processing doesn't reach international, or even it's exhausting the local market and reaching the international market because of the standard issues they can't. So we kind of say, what is a project that needs after the workshop, because we have discussed solutions and they've said that, oh, we are mass producing, the pitches are so many, but we've got no market. So how do we bring the nations we are bridging to this platform and also assist Lesotho with those standards issues and everything, and then we can, even if we can offtake with our standards, it becomes the host standard thing. You take the products under your standards, even if you are a foreign country. So it resolves that issue, even if they're still struggling. It's like it's a fight they've been struggling for the last 20 years to actually set our standards. They've been benchmarking them, but somehow.
But we have set ours.
Ours are better than South Africa's. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So it's kind of solving an issue with the market of Lesotho, and here in Botswana we are facing a huge challenge of drought. We're going to be discussing different challenges in Botswana.
That's the theme of
the theme is local wealth creation, international, local and international market aggregations, cooperative and aggregations, and at the end of the day, for us as smallholders to supply to the international market, not a smallholder can do that. So even to the local market, how do we build aggregations that will enable that? So the local wealth is to say, how do we empower a farmer to understand and be firm to the rules. So in Botswana, we're going to be discussing those other issues of the drought and how to Botswana also, we need to understand our climate and pick those times when we are not going to be kind of realign. So that we've got our environment. Right now is not going, the climate change is not going anywhere, but we kind of still are firm to our, let's say, and when do we implement, but we need to now mindset change to when is the best time, looking at the changing climate, to actually now change that rota we used to do and align with what is before us, and we don't now at the time we used to.
So let me ask you first about the Lesotho one. How was the response from the most important stakeholder, the farmer?
The response is the farmers on the platform saying, we've got so much produce, but we've got nowhere to take it to. We are Lesotho. We are exporting chicks from South Africa. We don't have a hatchery. Like when now South Africa closes, because South Africa is always hit by bird flu. So when they close their borders, the same way I believe who is now breeding the layers. So we didn't have the layers in Botswana. Every time bird flu hits South Africa, we stay without eggs in Botswana. So Lesotho they are saying, we've got products, we can't reach the international market. We also don't have a hatchery for the poultry sector. So we are exporting,
Isn't that an
importing.
easily solvable problem? Issue of a hatchery.
Not.
What does it take to build a hatchery?
It took me to getting the Prime Minister and the Minister themselves to and the team in UK and in South Africa and the breeder in another country to actually convince them that we can set up that hatchery.
I mean, what is so difficult? What is the belief? What is involved in setting up a hatchery?
It's not just the hatchery actually. Poultry sector runs with it needs you to run with the entire value chain, from the breeder parent stock to the hatchery. And how do the chicks feed? You have to come up with a feed miller to produce. They have their own feeds, and every breed have their formula. So even the vaccines, where they're going to be coming from, and then you get to the slaughter facility. So you have to, when it's not as easy as just building the hatchery, you have to be now putting all the components.
The big suppliers have hatcheries, don't they?
That is why.
Well, how do they build theirs? So why can't farmers get together and build one for themselves as a cooperative?
It's the licenses are quite expensive for the farmers, because to get a breed on the broilers, you have to get it from the owner of that breed. And they are owned by certain companies. That is why in Botswana you have those
and
breeds.
Much they charge how much for
it's probably more than 5 to 10 million just for the license before you get to the 25 million in full automated hatchery, which you have to also have the parent stock, the farm set up, the feed miller, and the abattoirs.
From what you're saying, 50 million can do it.
50 million.
The whole thing.
100 million plus. Yes.
Is that the prohibiting factor?
It's not a prohibiting factor. It's the licenses part, I believe, which is always a challenge. Getting the license from the own breeder. Having that sign. You will be traveling from all these countries. These guys will be sending you to all the countries that breeders come. For me to get hold of the one I have right now, I had to go from France to Mauritius, from Mauritius to Tanzania, and then I ended up in the country that will be supplying me with it.
Why? Why couldn't you go straight to where the owner of the
owners were in France. Yes.
But they insisted that you go all
Now they take you, okay, fine, we hear you, you can go now to Australia. That is where the second headquarters are, because you are in Africa. So from France, we can supply you like that. And then from Mauritius, now you are in Africa. Who do we liaise with in
So when
Africa?
did you get the license?
It's 2024. We're still about to sign now because the project is about to start in end of 2022. Yes, and last
So
year
it's-
I had to implement the symposium first.
Okay.
Yes.
So it's an agreement in principle.
Yes.
Okay. What other seminars, summits, and symposia are coming this year? What can we look forward to?
This year I added the commemorative days, the ones we always, the Mother's Days, the Father's Days, towards the symposium in September, to say the mothers, we usually commemorate them or celebrate Mother's Day as in the normal mother giving birth to life, but this year I said let's commemorate it with the Queen Mothers, Bahumagadi, the wives to our royal chiefs, and say they are the community mothers who is supporting them with all the expectation of the community looking at them to do something for them actually.
So what do you do for them?
So I'm organizing a retreat, because when I started contacting them last year, they don't know each other. So I organized a retreat for them that is going to be on the 4th.
They don't even meet.
No, like they actually don't even know, like where Muhumagadi Matatulo will know where Muhumagadi Magasitsi is. They don't know. So I organized a retreat for them in Kasane, which is going to be on the 4th of May.
Wow.
In Kachobe Marine, for the first time, you're going to find royalty under one roof and discussing and actually coming together. And we've invited some royal families from Ghana, Uganda, South Africa, who also, and I gave them that poster, they, wow. This, we need to be part of this. We've got Prince Walengembu from Uganda. We've got Princess Nikiwe and Bahumagadi by Pizza Bo Masechaba, the Bahumagadi from Eastern Cape, who are saying we've got our own cooperative where we can raise funds for our projects, where the community can find us when they need the assistance of Bahumagadi. And then I look at our Bahumagadi, they don't know each other. So how about they come and learn from what these Bahumagadi are doing in the regions?
Brilliant.
And we also empower them on financial literacy, raising funds for the managing community engagement ethics. How do they get the community to be on their side, and also they reach out to the community? I kind of believe from my young age, I saw Masingwayin do that a lot. She will even go to the community and interact with the community. But Bahumagadi today are on more corporate and are home, and they kind of, there is that gap where Bahumagadi is feared. The protocol, how do you even say Bahumagadi is kind of, how do I even, but when they are also communicative and also those barriers to the community are lifted, it becomes a very interesting relationship. And then we celebrate the mothers on the 11th of May. Muhumagadi Makhosi Khasitsi will be hosting us at the main Khotla. And we will be having now all Bahumagadi. We had
So SERGE organizes this in terms of all the marketing.
All the marketing.
So what you have done here, you've brought in your skills from your marketing background and from your first business.
Yes.
And you've brought these skills to bear, and you are now deploying them for the success of SERGE.
Yes.
I see what
even
you're doing.
Even the designs, and I don't get to now hire somebody to be doing my posters and everything. Through my skills, it's a multimedia. I get to just do all my designs, the posters, the proposals. The proposal isn't easy. The brief, you just have to be in the mood to be writing that when it's flowing. So for the Father's Day, it's a 2 days boot camp at Sabina Bush Park, where we are saying the bridge between generational father and son.
Between father and son.
Yeah. So how do we get the sons ready to receive, and how do we let the fathers know or get to that level where they are ready to hand over, because the years are gone, or they're already tired, or then the son needs to take care of. For the Father's Day, I've called 2 farmers from Botswana, Mutsadi and the young farmer. From South Africa, I've called Tatemwa Lusisarapelwana as the mentor on generational wealth, and 2 farmers, the agronomists from South Africa, and I've got Namibia, I've got participation from Men's Club, who are saying, Men's and Boys Club, who are saying they've seen also the stress, the depression children get into, and it's not pretty. So how do they address?
We've spoken a lot about that in this program.
Yes.
We've spoken a lot about the neglect of the boy child.
The boy child. So even after the boot camp, we intend to, if we find the sponsor, actually, as much as the girl child is given the pets, we also distribute some grooming sets for the boys, where you find the shoe polish, the brush nyana, and some grooming for him to also, we are raising gentlemen.
To be taught how to shave when they start, at least the basics.
Yes, and
when they start shaving.
The only thing that they've given them to understand how to shine their shoes is grasshopper, because now these guys always want that grasshopper to be always be on point. That is the only thing that has encouraged them to always keep it shining. But how do we also reach out to them to understand they are the fathers, the next generation of fathers? Let's just stop this absent fathers thing, and we bring the right now generation to understand you don't donate, you take care.
Yeah. So the entrepreneurs and the business people who are watching you, how do you want them to be part of what SERGE is doing?
For the mothers retreat in Kasane.
I mean, in general, in terms of all these multiple projects.
Yeah, I've been struggling financially to actually organize these things. Like I said, from zero budget, I'll preserve my price tag to it. I'll be seeking sponsorships, and there's never the right time. With the government, you've submitted after the financial year. You submit even before the financial year.
It's still a problem.
You're too early.
Yeah.
And with the companies, is with the workshop, they were too small for them to actually capture the mandate or something objective. The workshop of 30
too small
people
for their
is
budget.
Too small. But now with the regional symposium, I'm quite reaching out to companies to come and sponsor and be part of a platform that is going to be implementing solutions for the farmers and be part of the implemented projects, because afterwards we're also going to be building an agricultural hub that the smallholder farmers are going to be part of, and they're going to be running it under an aggregation. I got an influence from Gloria Milile. She's in Malawi. She was a guest speaker on the ended Demo Expo, who talks about aggregation. That she's supplying India with more than 2,000 metric tons of chilies, but she's getting it from the 1 hectares, the 500 meter squared farms, the 2 hectares.
How does she do it?
As she said, she's managing more than 5,000 farmers, who she has deployed 45 advisors who are managing these farmers, and she, like we are doing the chicken basket, monitor the production, and then after be the offtake, and then offtakes to the market. Yeah, it's only just the support we need to give to the smallholder farmers to be impactful and effective.
I want to ask you about the government policy of stopping agricultural inputs from other countries. I'm told that our counterparts in South Africa are very angry that we've blocked, and they say we're supposed to be part of SADC. How important is this the import ban for agricultural products? And do you think that if it were to be stopped, everything would collapse?
There is, like everything else that has got advantages and disadvantages. The advantages, it empowers the locals to now effectively stand up and want to supply this empty market. But you look at the readiness of our local farmers and the empowerment that they have been given. Are they aware? You look at the landscape of our agriculture. Who is producing? Our youth, who first spent time in schools and getting their degrees and being learned, and afterwards they don't find any employment anywhere, and they fall back into agriculture to start now producing, but they've got no skills to produce an onion. But now we kind of, even the youth kind of believe it's an easy finding solution. You'll be planting onions after 3 months, you take them and you go and sell, but it's not easy as that. And you'll find that who is also producing retired government employees who now, all these years, they've been weekend farmers who go to the cattle post during weekends, and the messy part is most of them who have traveled all these countries, who have seen innovative solutions being implemented in other countries that they should also be implementing in Botswana. But they just come and wait for 65 years, and then that's when with the retirement package, they want to buy the machineries now. But the skills, they've been working from Friday to Saturday and be farming during weekends. They also, so that is the variation I saw through the workshops, that is attended by the youth who've got no idea what to do, and then our parents who are now saying, I want to come and start for at least 67 years. Which are they ready? Are our local farmers, smallholder farmers? Because everything that is being produced commercially is not for our market. The potatoes at Khanzi and the mabele at Banda Matenga, they are always sent to the international market. We just seen that with the citrus project. Where are the namunis going? To the international market. Do we
really? I'm expressing surprise. And I'm also showing my ignorance.
It's they've said where are they going to the Arab? Is it the Arab market? Yeah. So yeah, they've seen. But why are we producing commercially to send out, and yet the smallholder farmers who are expected to produce for the local market are not empowered enough to supply to the market?
Is it because the prices offered here are not good enough?
They're not good enough as they are, because we are competing with the same retailers having their own farms.
Yeah, but then what do you say about my original question of the ban? Do the advantages outweigh the disadvantages? The import ban.
The disadvantages outweigh the advantages. It's a good move, but if we could get the farmers ready.
Stop it?
No, it should continue, but now invest more on empowering the local farmers on how to produce the products that we have banned. Yeah, because even the ones who are now supplying the cucumbers are banned. The ones supplying the cucumbers are not like the market is still there for a lot of they will be producing 200 while we need 400, so that's still not enough.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell me about the Agricultural Finance Roundtable.
We also wanted the banks to come. Unfortunately, none of them came.
What is it? First, explain what it is.
It was the value chain financing roundtable. The main objective was to say we have looked at value chains as there are so many gaps. You'll find that we have the sunflower, like we are saying, but you have the farmer who wants to produce, and then the processor. How do we finance the middle, the processors, the transport logistics? How do we finance the packaging side? How do we finance all these other sector, the linkages in the value chain? We always kind of finance bits of value chains, and that is how our value chains. We don't have any firm value chain. And even you look at our cattle is doing very well. We've got the farmers who are producing the cattle, the logistics and the transport
is okay.
It's okay. And then you get to the BMC, it's there. The processing is okay. The export is okay. We've got the planes taking the meat everywhere to Africa. But what is happening to other value chains that are
Europe?
not firm? Yes. But other value chains are not as firm as that to say all the linkages needs to be financed and appreciated. Packaging, we need to take that into point. But every time you talk about packaging, it's like something that is overlooked, like, as long as you've got the product. Yes, so it was addressing
So this
that.
round table is yet to take place.
I've meshed all these workshops actually into the interregional symposium to say all the challenges we've been discussing through all those workshops. Now, how do we solve that regionally in a regional platform where we can get like all these nuggets from other farmers from other countries, smallholder farmers. They've managed the coconut value chain is firm because they've managed to do this and invest here and do that. We've got the cocoa value chain. Kenya, we have invested in it like this and like that. So how do we create firm value chains in Botswana? So it's just to always be sharing with other countries and bringing up suitable implementable solutions.
Organizations like UN and SADC, as well as the Africa Continental Free Trade, is it assisting, or are you working with them?
And Lesotho, because of some challenges getting the minister on board early, we only invited a doctor from fishery from SADC who saw the platform. It was the first edition. Who saw the platform, and now in Botswana, he's willing to introduce us to SADC. And for that, I have to get the minister on board, which I've been having meetings with the minister to come on board so that they can strategically invite these organizations that always want to be involved in something that is affiliated with the ministry. Yes.
Okay, and is government overall helpful
It's
in light of the mindset change, in light of the Ministry of Entrepreneurship, in light of this change?
They still believe I want to take their jobs. You talk about being an aggregator or empowering the farmers. They will say we do have capacity building platforms where we always call the farmers. So what is different or unique about what this or what the director Mamang is doing? He's been doing this. So what are you saying about your platform? But yeah, they are coming. They're starting to understand. Nadi did come on board immediately when I presented the concept. They want to also regionally be known, which it did be the return of investment for them was the Temo Expo when I also came on board, called the Mailile on board from Malawi to come and display the aggregation, and Dr. Nkata from Pabra, who are dealing with the beans and the seedlings development, who Nadia also actually a member of Pabra. So it was quite a connection of how do we industrialize seed multiplication or seed producing in a way that we also now commercially produce our local varieties. So we needed that.
So you had to convince them you're not taking their jobs.
No, I just need to.
we
just need to be complementing each other with what you are doing, what have you done, and what do we still. Yeah. Every time we had the Minister of Country Government of Mombasa at Lesotho who said we are doing a lot, but every platform we still learn a lot, and we also still need to do more. So for platforms like this, I'm gonna be here and I'm here. But with what you have organized, Madito, I wish I could have brought the farmers, but I wanted to come and see. Because after the second day we had farm tours, which we went to a snail farmer who is producing some beauty products with the snail serum.
Really?
And yes, that snail farmer also got the lessons from Kenya online course which she did with, so they were quite impressed. So you learned how to do this from us. So we went to the farmer who is just on the Molapeng Hela, about 40 sheep, wool sheep. They harvest the wool, and when they've got the aggregation model which they're collecting. Yes, wow. They just farm in their backyards. Like the only passage is from walking from gate to your house and to the water. Like there are plots of beans of
and
vegetables.
They're doing it on a large scale. Wow.
Just Momaseru. We didn't even have to go 20 kilometers outside Maseru to see any farm. So we went and also see the goat farmer who is producing soaps and cheese with the goat milk. And then we went to the farmers who is doing also mixed farming, fishery, and it was.
What about in Botswana? In Botswana post-COVID, and these things mushrooming? Similar projects?
They mushroom and they collapse because of lack of market, or to say we want to produce in the backyard to sell. We don't look at it to produce in the backyard. You are reducing the cost, the monthly budget of actually buying those produce. and then you leave those who can afford, those who don't have backyard to actually go to the shop. So let's produce to also reduce the costing,
The cost of food.
the cost of living in home, so that we don't always have to buy every vegetable, which I believe that is the angle the farmers in Lesotho
Apart from
go
the
with.
health
Yeah,
benefit,
yeah.
like getting original,
Yes.
you call it, what do you call it?
So they were quite impressed with the farms and the products we saw. So in Botswana, unfortunately, with our farms being 100 kilometers from where we stay, we are just going to be having the round tables. We're going to have the first day of the conference, and then the round tables the second day, where we want the companies that are there to actually say, as a company, I'm committing myself on this aggregate of this value chain or development of this value chain.
Okay.
And I believe you in Tate Mogobe, I don't take that laying down. The moment they commit, they're going to have to deliver on that commitment. Yes.
And you will get there.
Yes.
Now, what about you as a brand? What can we foresee in terms of the future? If you look at Oarabile Ditedu and SERGE, when you're looking at these two brands, what can we be looking at a decade or two from now?
SERGE, I think we're going to be finding Pan-African projects in every country that have been achieved through the interregional symposium. I'm not going to leave any country after the symposium without a project we can see and really put our testimony to say, in Lesotho, this is what we have achieved, and in Botswana, this is the agri-hub that has been built. In Namibia, this is the solution that was implemented. Even on the 5th year in Malawi, because we'll be looking back from the first day we started with the first symposium, we're going to be giving updates in every country. We give updates of this year. We're going to have to be giving updates of what we have achieved.
So every symposium has to have projects that
has
emerge
yes.
from that.
Yes.
So then what are we going to see in 2 decades? It's going to be, they'll be in how many countries?
I've seen now the countries that are saying, why are we not in your 5-year strategy for the countries you want to visit? For now, it has been Lesotho, Botswana, Kenya is already booked for next year, and Namibia, and we're closing it. But South Africa and Mozambique has already shown and say, are you not going to have 2 sessions at least in one country, in 2 countries? Of April, go to South Africa, and then you have your September in that country that has already booked. And Mozambique was saying the same thing. But the solutions you are talking about, I have a seed multiplication project right now, which Namibia and Mozambique are already invested in. They really want to do it. So it's about now, even I'm kind of going to have to implement some of them before we even get to those countries. But I see us going even to more countries that I believed we just going to be having 5 countries and hear people, the feedback from people. But even now we are already getting the feedback.
How big is your team?
That's you know that one. You know where Oarabile conceptualizes the boy. I have to sit down first, and then I've got a marketing strategist. I've got an advisor who is also my mentor, Jakes Mutlabani. I've got we are actually 3 with all this work,
but then
and then
you
I've got
collaborate with all these others.
Yes, and then I collaborate with them. But now during the events day, that is when I bring the temporary assistance to actually deliver on that day.
Makes sense.
Yes.
Time for you to ask me a question, madam.
Okay. As I read the back of this book, you are talking about your story. What really inspired you to write it, and what are the challenges?
I was getting a lot of questions like the ones you just put to me, and I was also getting a desire from a legacy standpoint to say, look, is there no recordal of what I did? If I was to be hit by a truck tomorrow, it will be like I was never here. So why don't I have some record of my activities on this planet, for the sake of posterity, for the sake of my family, for also my own purpose of just clarifying my thoughts. So that is the real reason. And besides, every time I speak in a symposium, in a conference, because I get invited a lot all over the place. People say, "Is there no book? Want to get a book?"
Oh.
So those are the considerations.
Okay.
I hope I've answered the question.
Yes, and as a businessman and a mentor to some, and with how you young people look at your work, apart from the book, what else are you going to be? And apart from the podcast,
I'm
what
going to
else are you
share
gonna
from
be?
here. I'm going to share my profile with you. My profile is vast. We're involved in about 16 different companies and in about 6 or 7 different areas of economic activity. So I'm going to share my profile with you. Most of those who watch are familiar with my posts on social media. I'm active in law, active in restaurants, active in in hospitality, active in sanitation, active in speaking, active in podcasting. So there are many areas that we are economically active in.
Okay.
So I'll share that with you.
Thank you.
All right. Your camera, I believe, is that one. Be kind enough to share one final message, which sort of summarizes everything as we conclude our conversation.
Okay. To Botswana, all I can say is we need to come together without looking at the background, without looking at or undermining the little we have. So we start with the little we have, the little land we have, the little finances that we have. It's worth taking the first step, and then everything else will follow.
Do you want to tell them where to reach you? I want all your contact details.
Okay, I'm on Facebook, Oarabile Ditedu, LinkedIn, Oarabile Ditedu, and my contacts are 769963330. That is the one on WhatsApp, 769963330, and the direct one is 733-77900, 733-77900.
Did you mention social media?
Yes, I mentioned LinkedIn and Facebook.
Only
Oarabile Ditedu and LEM Search. Those are
Okay,
the pages
all
we
right.
have on both LinkedIn and Facebook.
Thank you, madam. You've been a great guest.
Thank you so
I appreciate it.